Welcome to today's lesson on Revit modeling. In this video, we're focusing on structural elements, specifically how to add steel and columns. So here's what you'll learn: how to insert and work with structural steel, the step-by-step process for adding columns to your design, and tips for visualizing your structure in 3D for better clarity in importing and linking CAD files. So whether you're designing a 4,000 square foot project or tackling modular construction, these skills will help you work faster and smarter. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start by revisiting the project's design goals. Originally, this was planned as a 4,000 square foot building, but after some analysis, we decided to expand slightly to improve functionality and client experience. So a modular approach was chosen to save costs and improve efficiency. So for the structure, we'll explore two options: traditional shop fabricated steel members and prefabricated steel frames that we'll model ourselves. So first, we need to load the appropriate structural steel families. In Revit, these can be found under Insert and then Load Family. Navigate to the US Imperial Library. If needed, you can switch to the metric library, but for now, we'll stick with Imperial. From the Structural Columns folder, we'll use a W8x40 section, a common choice for many projects. And this type of steel is robust enough for a variety of applications without being overly large. To select it, simply click on its name. If you need multiple sizes, hold down the Control key and select additional types. Once ready, click OK. So placing columns requires careful attention. Revit often defaults to placing columns on the level below your current view. For instance, if you're working on the first floor, the column might associate with the foundation level. So if you see a warning like "None of the created elements are visible in this view," it's because the column isn't visible in your current plan. To correct this, switch to your 3D view, select the column and check its base level and top level in the Properties panel. For example, if the column needs to start at the first floor, set the base level to first floor and the top level to top of wall. This adjustment ensures the column is correctly displayed in your plans. Also, when placing columns, it's often helpful to turn off thick lines by clicking the Thin Lines option in the toolbar. This makes it easier to see the column center point for precise alignment. So once placed, columns can be moved, rotated, and aligned with the grid intersections. For instance, if a column needs a 90-degree rotation, simply select it, click Rotate, and either drag it or input the exact angle. To quickly populate your design, you can copy and distribute columns along your grid. So for this demonstration, we'll place columns at 8-foot intervals. While this spacing may be excessive for a 4,000 square foot structure, it illustrates the efficiency of Revit's tools. So here's how it works. Select a column, click Copy, and ensure Multiple and Constrain are activated. This allows you to replicate columns along the X and Y axis. Use the grid intersections as guides for precise placement. Once all columns are in place, switch to a 3D view to see the full structure. The columns are evenly spaced, aligned perfectly with the grid, and this setup demonstrates how quickly you can create a detailed layout, even for larger modular projects. When working in Revit, an essential skill is integrating CAD files efficiently while avoiding common pitfalls. So let's start by discussing the right way to bring in grid lines using a CAD file. So to begin, navigate to the Insert tab. You'll notice several options, including tools for importing and linking files. While you can bring CAD files into Revit, it's absolutely critical to always link CAD files instead of importing them. Why? CAD files often contain layers, hidden data, and background code that can complicate your project. If you import and export a CAD file, it might seem fine initially, but it can slow your model down or cause crashes later. Always remember, link CAD files, never import them. And to link a CAD file, click the Link CAD button. For this example, I'll use a structural grid file saved as a DWG from AutoCAD 2018. Revit is compatible with most AutoCAD versions going back to 2010, and even some older versions. Once you select your file, a dialog box opens with several important settings. First, make sure you check Current View Only to prevent the CAD file from appearing in every floor plan, which can be very annoying. I also recommend converting colors to black and white for clarity, although you can keep the original colors if needed. So for layers, you can choose to import all or only specific ones, depending on your project needs. Next, use the Auto Detect Unit setting, as most CAD drawings are created in model space. Another crucial step is enabling correct lines that are slightly off-axis. Revit's precision means even the smallest deviation, like 1 to the whatever inch, can prevent you from creating accurate dimension strings. Positioning the CAD file correctly is also vital. If the file's origin isn't aligned with your project's 0 point, it can cause placement issues. To avoid this, use manual center positioning. This centers the drawing and helps you locate it easily within the model. After configuring these options, click Open. The CAD file will appear, hovering in your view. At this stage, it's essential to note that Revit treats the CAD file as a linked reference, much like an external reference, XREF in AutoCAD. You can snap to points and measure off the CAD file, but it remains a separate entity, ensuring your Revit model stays clean and manageable. To align the CAD file, I place it by matching the intersection of grid lines to where I want the grid in Revit. While you could use the CAD file as an underlay, I recommend creating Revit grid lines instead. Revit grid lines are intelligent. They appear in sections, elevations, and floor plans, making them far more versatile than CAD underlays. Use the Architecture tab and select Grid to trace over the CAD lines, creating your own Revit grid system. You can copy these grid lines across modules using constraints for precision. If distinguishing between the CAD underlay and your Revit elements becomes challenging, adjust the graphics of the CAD file. For example, you can change the line color to something distinct like pink, which makes it easier to differentiate. Once you've created the grid lines in Revit, you may no longer need the CAD underlay. To remove it, you have two options. The simplest method is to select the CAD file and delete it. However, if you might need the file again, go to the Manage tab, then Manage Links. Here you can unload the CAD file, which removes it from the view, but keeps it in your model for future use. This is especially useful when working with consultants who only provide CAD updates. If you receive a revised CAD file, use the Reload From option in the Manage Links dialog. This allows you to replace the existing CAD file without losing its placement or alignment in your model, provided the new file shares the same base points. By following these steps, you can integrate CAD files into Revit efficiently, whether for collaboration or as drafting references. Remember, the goal is to use CAD files as tools for creating Revit native elements. Alright, so by following these steps, you can integrate CAD files into Revit efficiently, whether for collaboration or as a drafting reference. Remember, the goal is to use CAD files as tools for creating Revit native elements, ensuring your model stays optimized and functional. So make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for future updates on our new videos. And please don't hesitate to comment down below what you want to see next, or if you have any comments, suggestions, anything. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye!